Hi there, welcome to Ayurveda with Alicia. I'm Alicia and an Ayurvedic health practitioner. And I just hopped off the Zoom with one of my one on one clients who's also a student in our Serene Mind program. And he asked a really great question that I thought you might be interested to hear some insights on. And that is, when is the best time of day to do my meditation practice? And in the Serene Mind program, we've been diving into yoga philosophy and Ayurvedic psychology, and we've been implementing these concepts that we know in Ayurveda and yoga that are called rajas and tamas. So you may have heard about the three mahagunas. These are the three main qualities that are the essential qualities that make up all of existence, all of life. And so all of life is governed by rhythms of nature. So we are governed by rajas and tamas in the same way as we are governed by the sun and the moon, and our energy moves out in the day and it moves in and down and helps us rest and rejuvenate at night. And so rajas and tamas are like two sides of the yin and yang. They're two sides of these dynamic, ever moving, ever changing dance of nature that exists inside of our body, inside of our every breath, your inhale, your exhale. They're governing all the cycles and rhythms that govern your health, your mental well-being, your whole relationship to life and the world around you. And so rajas is a term that we use that's really active during the daytime because it's when the solar energy is active. So our energy moves up and out during the daytime. And then tamas takes over around sunset. The energy starts waning and shifting in the same way that after you take a big long exhale, there's a little pause and it transitions before you take that next big inhale. So that pause between your exhale and your inhale is the junction of sunset. And that big inhale is like you resting and rejuvenating, and your energy moves in and down. You're inhaling as if you're sleeping, like while you're sleeping all night long. And then there's a little junction right between the in-breath and the out-breath. That is this suspended, spacious, eternal moment right before you start exhaling again. So there's a meditation practice called empty bowl meditation where you hang out in that gap. That gap is the junction between rajas and tamas. That gap is the junction between sunrise and sunset. That gap is the place that Dr. Ladd says is where stem cells are rejuvenated. It's the time between lifetimes, between birth and death. It's the sacred veil or veld, the interim moment in between exhale, inhale, in between life and death, in between action and rest. It's the junction. So the sunrise and the sunset are also really sacred because they're the transitional period. So it's really powerful to engage in meditation practice during those times, but in the evening, our body is starting to become tamasic. So it's starting to become relaxed and rejuvenated. And so we're also digesting and processing all of the sensory inputs that we had during the day. Now, this is a great time to watch the sunset or to engage in some kind of spiritual practice. Of course, you can do meditation really any time of day, ideally all day, because you're being really aware and present with everything that you're engaging in. You're looking outside, you're looking inside. That's part of your contemplation and awareness practice. However, when it comes to what's the best time to fully commune with spirit and to align our identity with something bigger and greater and more beautiful, than, our limited and sometimes experience of limitation, constriction, and confinement to this, persona and all the roles and hats that you have to wear throughout your day, throughout your all of your doings. Well, for that, we look to that early morning. And whatever time of year it is, we look at the sunrise time. So you can check that on apps on your phone these days. What's the sunrise time with where you are in the world? And then you calculate back 42 minutes and then 42 minutes prior to that. So roughly an hour and a half before sunrise, that window is that window of transition between when the big inhale of the rejuvenation of sleep is transitioning into an exhale of the day. But before the exhale starts, before you are prompted to start doing and acting and making decisions and serving others and all the things, before you're prompted by the sun to start doing something with your day and with your life, that sacred little window called Brahma Muhurta, it's this sattvic time of day that allows for you to commune with spirit and to commune with higher purpose or your higher connection to the cosmos, or however you uniquely connect with the divine. That's the moment where you're not pushed or pulled by rajas and tamas. That's the moment where you can reside in this suspended eternal connection with beauty and with love and just simple beingness without labeling it anything. So if you go to bed early enough and can wake up well rested and your body is nourished, you will notice that you'll start to wake up in that window naturally without alarms, etc. There's, of course, lots of things we could troubleshoot if you have a hard time waking up that early, but let's just leave it to say, if you're inquiring about having a deeper meditation practice or a contemplation time of day where you can just fill yourself up first, connect to spirit first, so that your identity and your sense of who you really are as a being can just be in that space before you go into all your activities of the day, this is the best time to do it. So anytime, really anytime before sunrise, but particularly that Brahma Muhurta time, which is 42 minutes plus 42 minutes, so an hour and a half. Within that window, you'll notice the closer it gets to the actual sun peeking over the horizon, the more you'll start to feel prompted and pushed into action right away. And you'll be like, oh, I missed the window. In the same way that you watch a sunset, do you notice how the closer the sun sets, like if you're watching over the ocean and you're watching the sun, this big glowing globe, it seems like it gets faster and faster and faster right as it's like dipping under the water. So in the same way, that same phenomenon happens subtly in the early morning. So you'll notice the closer you try to meditate to sunrise, it will be a little bit harder to like really drop in to that essential experience of spaciousness and beingness. It's not impossible. I'm just saying, if you're that tuned in to the environmental prompts and like the molecules of the sun that are starting to dance inside of your being, it will prompt you to want to start moving into action. So if you set up your evening routine and morning routine such that you can sit for your contemplation practice or meditation practice or just beingness practice in the earlier part of the window, and you feel rested enough to do so and can just be, that's going to be where the gold is. And the gold, I don't mean because you are mining something and exploiting the experience. I mean, that's where the brilliant kiss of the divine in that beautiful, spacious, suspended, eternal moment is. It resides simply in that sattvic window of the morning. So I hope this is helpful to you, and sending you all my love and respects, and I'll see you in the next video. Blessings. Hari Om.